Good evening, folks. Happy Friday again. Triple Crown coming to you from Vancouver, British Columbia. We are here, second video of the night. This time discussing 3 air units in the game. 2 of them you know previously. They are the Naval Fighter and Torpedo Bomber, which only the United States and Japan can have in the game. The additional unit we're adding, because we think it's cool, is the Ferry Swordfish, sort of the World War I style biplane you can see there. Because it did have a role, obviously, the Taranto raid and going after the Bismarck, and it was very effective. So we're just going to go into, I guess we'll talk about the sculpts first and the actual units that we're going to be using, or that I'm going to be calling in the rulebook. It's going to be called a naval fighter, but I wanted to actually be, like, if we're going to have a naval fighter, I wanted to know, well, was there one, and what was it called, and was it time accurate, or time frame accurate? So, and you know what, I mean, I'm not proud that I'm showing you all these pieces that are not finished being painted, but I think it's also good because you can see that it's an evolution. You're not just going to be able to have all this stuff, all at once painted and it's going to be perfect. And some of it's going to be trial and error. Maybe you like certain colors better. Maybe you like certain sculpts better. I'm not telling you have to use this or paint this. I'm showing you what I use, and I've labeled the actual fighter beside where it says, say, tactical or torpedo bomber, because I just wanted to be specific about what the unit was in World War II. So obviously this is a you can see this is a 3D print, I believe, or actually maybe it's not. It's in the battle piece section at HBG, but I've got it painted yellow. You can see the magnet on the bottom. Just such a cool sculpt. And then in the back, you can see I've got the what they call the Naval Fighter. For Japan, it's going to be fairly easy. These are out-of-box sculpts. I've just got them painted white with the decal on there. They kind of stand out. That's obviously a 0. And then there's a few more options that you can purchase, or maybe you have in your inventory for the U.S. Naval Fighter. And the recommended ones that we're going to put is the F4F, which is the Wildcat, the F6F, which came out a little bit later on, which was the Hellcat, and the one that's got the gull wings that so iconic looking is the F4U, the Corsair. I've also been playing with colors of the U.S. So for Midway, they had this. This is actually the intermediate blue. They call it. You can actually buy these colors. Certain companies will sell the actual specific color. This was my attempt at making that intermediate blue. And then later on, obviously, in the war came out the, this is a U.S. Navy blue, which is quite a bit darker. Yeah, I think I actually like all of them. So I don't mind they're a little bit different, because it's going to allow you to see the piece on the board and identify what it is. These sculpts for the U.S. torpedo bomber, this one here is the SB2C, and the other one is the Avenger. I don't have the Avenger painted up yet. It's just the U.S. green. So you can see quite a bit of a different role as than the P-38, right? A P-38 was never going to land on an aircraft carrier, and it really was bigger than a fighter, so that's why I gave it the designation of tactical bomber. And the BN-5 Kate, obviously some of these did actually land on carriers, but I found it a little bit more difficult for Japan finding a sculpt, so this is a BN-5 Kate. And you believe it or not, depending on which factory it came from, the Mitsubishi or Nakajima factory, they had a different shade of paint on it. Whether it was there's a couple different actually shades of. This is the darker INJ green. So the difference between the Kate and the Val, you can see that it's to do with their wings. The Val's wings are a little bit bigger, so you can kind of see the difference. This one I actually won, I think, at BBR St. Louis, so someone did a nice job painting that. This is my attempt at making this look similar to, and this is obviously also a Kate, just painted with the Japan. This is painted by G.I. Joe, I believe, and I won this at BBR Atlanta. So my, obviously you can see I'm trying to, and then you can see the bottoms of these I've painted gray, or whatever color they were, to kind of, you can kind of see. Anyways, enough about paint. What do these actual units do? Well, they were in the original Global War 39, and you know, Kurt says these are one of the most loved units, because I had difficulty trying to find this, like the actual unit. It was time frame, you know, I was doing all this research, so there was a discussion at a point in time where do we want to still have these as a part of the game, and I got anyways, a stern no was the answer. So and I'm glad that we have kept them in. So what do they do? Well, they are obviously go on an aircraft carrier. So I'm just gonna throw them on so you can kind of have a look. There's a couple different carriers I do have. Some of these ones were, again, won at various tournaments that I've been to. So that one doesn't want to go on the magnets. The wrong polar, so I'll just throw them on so you can kind of see. So I'll start first with the swordfish. The swordfish attacks and defends at 3, costs 6, moves 4. Pretty simple, not complicated. There is a limit on what you can buy. Only the UK can purchase them, and I believe some of the Commonwealth countries, but there's going to be a limit. I think the UK actually, maybe the limit is 3. So obviously they weren't produced later in the war, so we didn't want that. And only, just to be clarified, only one can land on an escort carrier, because even though the sculpt looks small, they actually were a big plane. So only one can land on an escort carrier. The naval fighters, now they had a target select capability in the original, and we're going to keep that. In fact, we like that, so we're actually going to bump it up. So when they are attacking and defending, so we wanted to get historically naval battles more accurate, where how the naval fighters just wreaked havoc on Navy. So we didn't want it to be overpowering, but it also was on defense too. When you scrambled your fighters, the fighters crossed each other in the air and went and attacked your enemy's fleet. So historically, so we're going to make the target select on attack and defense. So if you roll a 2 or less, that means, so if the US is coming in and they roll a 2 or less, they can target select a surface ship. So they get to pick their target. That doesn't mean first strike. Target select does not mean first strike. It just means that you get to choose your target. And same on defense. If they're coming in and you're crossing, the crossing navies, and they roll a 2 on defense, that you get to target select. So there you go. That not perfect, but that plane's everywhere now. So that's that. The same with the torpedo bombers. They have a target select on attack and defense at 2. Again, folks, we're still in play testing, so if we feel it's too powerful, we might tweak it a little bit, but as of now, that's what it is. Just FYI. And also, you know, the other question is you might have is, can naval fighters and tactical bombers attack land? Yes, they can attack land. They just lose their target selecting ability. The cost of the naval fighters is a little bit more. It's 11 versus 10. And for the torpedo bombers, this is the British carrier. The torpedo bombers, it's 12. So not you know, not super game breaking, but these carriers from HBG are so cool. These 3D sculpted carriers. Just thought I'd throw them in there so you can have a look. So we're going to close here. The quote, nothing, more of a lesson, I guess, in keeping your composure. Keeping your composure wherever you are in your life, whether you're at work, whether you're with your family, with friends, and in particular when you're playing these board games. It's easy to get upset sometimes and lose, lose your mojo or lose your spark in a game. There's highs and there's lows. A quote I heard on Hockey Night in Canada from somebody named Harry Neal with respect to keeping your composure. And it just kind of reminds you sort of the chain of events when things start to bother you. And that was that anger is only one letter short from danger. So you want to be trending the opposite way. You don't want to be trending towards danger. You want to be trending towards, taking some deep breaths, going for a walk, having a glass of water, having a pause, getting something to eat, whatever it's going to take. You got to find something, because folks, I can tell you, when you get angry, it's not good, especially when you're playing these board games. You kind of don't have the same focus. So that's the lesson of tonight. Thank you for watching, and stay tuned.